Without a vision, the people perish.
3D Research. You were a CFO of several companies
Right.
and co-founder of that. And tell me a little bit about 3D Research.
Well, I will. That's the company that Lisa and I started in the extra bedroom of our home when we lived in Harvest. A little closer, a little closer. Okay. So we decided, after having worked with government contracting and engineering services and test and engineering, we said, let's do it on our own. So Lisa quit her job first, and I quit second. She was the CEO, I was the CFO, and we started our company. And it started just the two of us and grew from 1998 year by year, adding a little everywhere we could up until we were twice recognized by the Inc. 500 as one of the fastest growing companies in America.
Oh, my.
So we love the company. It had some wonderfully talented people.
And sold it,
we did. We had 17 locations all over the world, and Tyler was born in 2001. So the day he was born, we didn't know at the time, but he was part of our exit strategy, in that we were working so much that it was time to sell and do something else. So we sold in December of '05, just before Christmas.
And then you started this new multi-million-dollar, well, it wasn't, I guess, when you started.
No,
Synapse Wireless.
It wasn't even $1 when we started. What we did, Synapse Wireless, was formed by four guys. Now, after 3D Research, Lisa retired and started doing the online Berkeley guitar.
Oh, yes, that's right. You guys
was
are
retired
play and sing.
Yes, yeah, we love music. So Synapse Wireless Corporation was formed in October of 2006. And it's different for me in that it is a commercial company. It is not a government contractor. And I started as CFO, COO, and the other three guys are very talented, very hardworking guys. And what we're doing in that company, Bonnie, is we've got a wireless capability that helps people get data back wirelessly to a computer. And it's showing up in many different applications. We've got about 28 patents, and we recently attended the Silicon Valley's
in California.
Silicon Valley, California's show for Embedded Devices Technology Conference, and we won the best new company of the show and the best technology of the show, and
I can see that
great.
You are one of the world changers for sure. That company will be.
I hope
is
so.
a world changer.
I hope so.
I can see so many applications for that and the wireless. I've got some ideas for you. I'll tell you about.
Good.
So
these days, I'm no longer the CFO. I am the director of government programs. So I am trying to sell the technology to the soldier. And I've helped sell one program that's called Soldier Wireless Inventory. A soldier opens a laptop and conducts an inventory of a building 10 miles away without going there.
Oh, that's
and
exciting.
ultimately, what the Army wants to do is conduct inventories from Huntsville of Afghanistan's assets.
Whoa.
So we're working to build it across the internet. So we're excited about Synapse Wireless.
I know you are. I just interviewed, in fact, I think it was on last week, FBI guy Jeff Dowdy that came back from Afghanistan. He had just gone to Washington, D.C. to receive an award for saving so many lives in a suicide bomber. So
wow.
It's really needed what you're doing to know what's going on in other areas. You're also involved in the Class 20 to the Rescue. I love that name, Class 20 to the Rescue. Tell us about that leadership program.
Madison County has a leadership program,
yes.
and about 50 people per year from all walks of life come together to form this 9-month, 1 day a month program. And I was very happy to be part of Class 20. And one of the projects that we did together was, after we toured the Neves Davis D-Home Center, we learned that there's literally tens, maybe hundreds of kids in our area that do not have the fee to take a GED test. There's parents out there that don't care enough about their kids to help them get a GED, and the story we heard was very, very gut-wrenching. So anyway, we put together a group called Class 20 to the Rescue, and we did a fundraising project, and as a result of our collective efforts, 152 or 3 at-risk youth have successfully taken the GED.
Somebody cared.
Somebody
That's
cared.
what they needed, was
Somebody
someone
cared.
to care.
That program is ongoing today. Lisa and I were having lunch at the Greek place, and we ran into the new director of the Neves Davis Center, and we were talking, and he said, "So you're running for office?" And I said, "Yeah." And and when he told me he was Neves Davis, I said, "Have you heard of Class 20 to the Rescue?" And he said, "Yes." So he
Isn't that
knew
exciting?
it, and he wasn't even there when this happened. This is probably 2 years old, 3 years old. I forget when 3 years ago that we did this, but great thing that was done by a lot of us. So we put a bank account together. I opened the bank account. It eventually went from me over to the Alabama Rehabilitation Foundation, and now anytime Neves Davis has a kid that needs a test, they call up Brian, and Brian cuts a check. So we've had over 150 success stories.
That is great.
Oh.
And we'll just forget about the phone
Okay.
ringing. That's part of it because we're right here. One of the things that you said is be the change you want to be is one of your favorite. That we'll just have to forget that. We suddenly decided to do this interview with you. So if that's picked up on the microphones, we'll live with it.
We'll edit later.
But one of your favorite sayings, and I think that is for all of us today, be the change you want to be and to see in the world.
Right.
So how'd you come up with that idea?
Well, actually, Gandhi came up with that, and,
okay.
I stole it from Gandhi. But think about it: be the change you want to see in the world, and that's why I'm running for office. I had a.
They're not going to give up.
They
are
need to talk to you. You want me to hit pause? Or keep going?
No, we'll just keep going.
Okay.
That'll work out.
I had a moment when I was so concerned about our country and what's going on in our district that I had what I call my put up or shut up moment. I want to try to bring my skill set into state government to do something for North Alabama. So I'm trying to be the change that I wish that we had. You know, it seems like things don't happen. And it seems like we've elected people that maybe don't have the resume to go down and negotiate for money, because there is no job description to be a state legislator. Anybody can go be a state legislator. So, but ultimately, I think the skill that is needed there is the ability to negotiate for us.
That's so exciting, wanting the money to be spent here. Now, of course, I'm a wife and mother, so I'm very interested in the grocery tax. Tell me a little bit about your feelings about the grocery tax.
I have never met a tax that I don't think I would eliminate. I think we're overtaxed. I think senior citizens especially go, why are we taxing groceries? And we're one of the few states that still tax groceries. But what I hear from people is, well, how are you going to make up the revenue? And I tell people at the top level, flawed thinking is, how do we make up the revenue? I'm a conservative. A conservative cuts. A conservative gets a more efficient government. A conservative is able to make the hard decisions to eliminate waste. We've got a multi-billion-dollar state budget. We waste a lot of money. There's redundant programs. There's redundant jobs. We need to be able to cut those jobs. And as we do that, then there will be so much leftover money that the state will be able to keep running programs and not say to me, well, if you're going to cut out the grocery tax, how will we make up that lost revenue? So I would cut that tax, and most any other tax I get a chance to try to pass legislation to either reduce or eliminate.
Well, I wonder what that defining moment was when you said, I'm going to do it. Lisa, Tyler, let's go for it. When was that moment and what it precipitated that?
Well, that particular moment happened at a family meeting before school, but I think it began probably 100 days ago when we got a president in office, and I thought, how is this going to work out? What path will our country take? And I think the moment for me happened over a lifetime in being so busy with business and with family that I wasn't paying attention.
Most of us aren't paying attention.
I know. And Bonnie, I just decided that I needed to try to do something, because if I watch the news, if I watch it enough, it drives me absolutely crazy.
Oh, yes.
And I really feel our core values are under attack. I think that when I read the poll that like 30% of college kids voted yes to socialism over capitalism, and like 10% didn't know the difference. I thought, well, I am a product of America's free enterprise system, and I love this country, and I love the fact that any of us that want to do things live with freedom to go do it. Lisa was born in Vietnam in 63 and got out in 69. I have literally seen Lisa and her mom kiss the ground of America, and they talk about how the streets are paved with gold here. And they've both been so successful here, and they love our country. So my moment came after realizing that I have to do more than just vote. I have got to get involved, and I'm encouraging conservative people everywhere to get involved. And they say, how? And I say, well, write a letter to the editor, call your friend, join me on a campaign, find other conservatives to support. Even if they're not in your district, they still make laws that impact everybody in the state.
That's really true.
We have to get out of our comfort zone. Politics, religion, generally people don't talk about it. I've been 60 days ago, I hated knocking on somebody's door saying, hello, I'm Phil and I'm running for office, because we've all heard that before. But I'm past that now. And I've got passion to be able to get a conservative message in to what I see is a turning point. I believe we're at a seminal point in our country's history. And I'm very concerned about it. And I really want to see the 2010 elections stop what's going on, because we're headed for nationalized health care. That will be a disaster of proportions that we can't even imagine. It'll kill entrepreneurs. It'll impact small businesses in a way that we can't even imagine. We're headed for nationalized banks, nationalized autos. This is socialism. And all of us that know the difference have got to at least get out of our comfort zone enough to educate those around us and encourage people to, let's fight the fight here.
Yes.
So Bonnie, my moment came over about a 110-day period of what I'm seeing coming out of Washington, D.C. They're printing billions and billions of dollars out of thin air. Tyler's 8 years old. How is he going to deal with that? He's going to have a tax rate that I can't even imagine if we don't stop this.
I spoke in Congress for the small business because they were trying to incorporate it into the Department of Commerce. But one of the things in the research was the number of new employees that come from new small businesses. Sometimes small business become big business.
Right.
Ours had 30. We came from Tony and me to 35 employees to 131.
Wow.
Across the country of the dealer distributors and their salespeople, and it's upsetting to see what is happening. And one of the things that hurt me so bad, I'm a broker in real estate, and I saw they were dipping into the rainy day fund for things that wasn't originally, money wasn't put there for.
Right.
What's your opinion of that?
Well, it's been very educational for me to realize that somewhere back in time, the people that governed us even set up a rainy day fund. Today, if there were excess dollars on the table, some politician would use them to buy votes. He or she would not think about rainy days in the future. So the very fact that there ever was a rainy day fund shows how far we've gone from a conservative nation to a consumer nation. So they're dipping into this because our state constitution says, Alabama, you will not spend 1 penny more than you bring in, which I think is wonderful.
Yes.
I wish all governments worked that way.
Oh, yes.
Since we do have that in the Constitution, we go into proration, which means that if let's just say your budget is $8 billion. Once you've spent $8 billion, you coast for the rest of the year to the next budget cycle.
Well, what about restoring accountability to how can we do that in the ethics reform?
We need to elect people that serve for the right reasons. there have been people in the past that seek these positions of power so that they can build their own career, or they can get into a bigger pond or network into a larger area. Ethics reform is what's going to move Alabama forward. There are 105 legislators. I'm trying to be one for our area. These people are lobbied. They're able to receive cash from lobbyists, which I think is just insane. Up to $249 a day in cash they can be handed and never have to report it. I think that is criminal. They have things called PAC-to-PAC.
Yes,
transfers.
I wanted you to explain that.
A PAC is a group. You and I could form a PAC on the internet in 30 minutes. And a PAC is a collective group of people who want to donate political contributions. So that would be fine, and it works well at the federal level, because at the federal level you have to name everybody in the PAC and how much they give. Doesn't work that way at the state level. And also at the federal level, an individual can only give $2,400. At the state level, there's no limit for an individual. A business is limited to $500, but an LLC is unlimited. An LLP is unlimited. So what you have are these PACs that receive money from other PACs, and maybe they received it from a different PAC, which possibly came from Mississippi gambling money. Mm-hmm. And that's what's driving Alabama politics. That needs to be stopped. Cash gifts to legislators needs to be stopped.
I remember it, and I told you I was a fellow to the Institute of Politics for a year, and David Broder was speaking one time, and he said they would bring money in grocery bags, cash money, put them on the table of things they wanted to make sure happened. So if you can in any way enhance our ethics and help that to reform.
Well, Governor Riley has tried to do that, and the Republican group has blocked to try to pass sweeping ethics reform. What we need, in my humble opinion, is a Republican majority in Alabama, and we're about 5 seats away from getting it. And I'm not saying that the Republicans are not without blemish. I don't know. I haven't been there. I don't know who's doing what. I do know that they voted themselves a pay raise, and I disagree with that. And I do know that a lot of these guys double dip. They'll take a legislator job and get a paycheck from Alabama. Then they'll use their power to go get a job teaching school in the 2-year state school system.
Yes.
That kind of double dipping should be prohibited.
Right.
If you're going to go make our laws, don't set yourself up for a conflict of interest. So I'm just going to be one person, but the federal government trained me very well for my 18 years experience as a contract specialist to recognize conflicts of interest. I'm not going down there for the job. I don't need it as a job. My intent is to try to go make a difference in a short term. I also believe in term limits. If you can't go get something done in 6 years, then you're not working hard enough, and you're not building enough momentum down there to bring positive change. So if I'm elected, I want to go bring about change, and I want to see results, and I'm going to hold my own self accountable to how effective I am. And if I end up in a system that I can't work within, then I'll have to deal with that at that time. But we all have to be the change that we want to see in the world.
Mm-hmm. You had several things that you liked very that were words of wisdom, I think, that are part of your ethics, like being the change we want to see in the world. Mm-hmm. Now, the economic development, you are involved in that and have been since 18 years, I guess, altogether, or a long time.
A long time. Yeah, I'm 49. I'll be 50 in August. I look back over my career and I get kind of confused as to what I was doing when. But I have I went to work in 1984 when President Reagan named the Star Wars program as being one of the country's priorities as a contract specialist. Mm-hmm. So my job was to learn how the regulations surrounding procurement worked, and I would negotiate with business. small businesses, large businesses. Some of them were tiny contracts. Some of them were multi-billion-dollar contracts. So I learned about government contracting as a government employee working for the Army. And after that career, I went from a GS-5 to a GS-14. And
you might
loved it.
explain a little bit about what that means for the non-engineers in Huntsville. Although I understand 80% of the households have an engineer in.
Yeah, most everybody in Huntsville would know the GS thing. It's the way that you progress through the ranks. At General Service 5, that was an intern level for me, and you start out. My beginning salary was $13,280 a year.
Okay,
wow.
You made it. Did you marry Lisa on that salary?
No. Yeah, that was 1984. But no, when I met her, I met her in 94. And I started to work for the government in 84. So I was her guitar teacher.
Oh, my
That's
goodness.
how we met. She was going for guitar lessons, and mutual friend says, don't go to the store. Call up our buddy Phil. He teaches guitar. So that's how we met. Mm-hmm. So we started our company in 98. So yeah, after having worked with so many small businesses and large businesses, we started our own company doing a similar thing.
And that company was that was
3D Research.
3D Research. Mm-hmm. And then after several years that you sold and started the Synapse Wireless.
Synapse Wireless. That's right.
And that's still in existence, isn't it? Mm-hmm. But you actually started another company, didn't you?
We have. In the Synapse experience, we've found a niche, and the niche is this. There are a lot of companies that have usable technology, and they don't know how to get it into the government. Mm-hmm. I understand the government world better than I do the commercial world. So Soldier One Corporation was formed last year, and I set it up to basically try to help companies that have to remain commercial get their usable technology into the soldier. So it's a brand new company. It's going to make a profit this year, but it's in its infancy. Lisa's an employee and I'm an employee, and I don't know where it's going to go. But we've already been approached by folks to come and join us and do this together. And it's beginning with a vision of taking the commercial technology into the government place. If you're a commercial company, it's hard to deal with government regulation. It's volumes and volumes of regulation, and the accounting system that the government holds you to is very, very tedious, and they audit you all the time.
Oh, yes. We bid to the government and the Department of Defense. Well, their auditor actually moved from Ohio, Cincinnati, or one of those places, to where we were near Little Rock in Maumelle, and he was there every day.
There every day.
Every day.
The IRS may or may not get around to auditing your personal. The DCAA, the Defense Contract Audit Agency, it's not if they come, it's when they're coming.
When they're coming, how long they're staying.
They're a good bunch of folks that will work with you to make sure that your accounting is accurate. And that you are able to manage, because it's a big responsibility to have a government contract. When we became a prime contractor, we were ultimately responsible for our subcontractors. Some of our subcontractors were small, and we didn't know how they would do. Some of them were large, like Raytheon. They had been a sub to us on one effort, and other large companies too. So we learned a lot about government regulation. So Soldier One is set up to try to help these companies that want to remain commercial try to develop an opportunity into the government. So we call it Soldier One Corporation.
Well, the person that walked in, Natalie Bennett, who's the chaplain at UAH and many other things.
And I'm a UAH graduate.
Okay,
and so is
my
Lisa.
daughter went there.
Yeah.
And, became a Russian interpreter. But Natalie had a business that became, from starting it with her 3 children around her, helping her a little bit, to become she had to have $100 million and another $75 million, and very large, but then lost a major account and couldn't hang in there. But so she found it was just part of the journey to get here.
Right. I've described the 3 companies that I've helped co-found as leaning back in a chair, and you get to that point that you almost fall, but you don't. That's what it feels like to me to start a business. And I love that feeling. I love that first year, that unknown, wild, wild west kind of feel. I'll be honest, I tend to get bored 2 years in, 3 years in, I'm looking for the next startup. Lisa's different. I'm more of a visionary. She's more of a very detailed, methodical person. So we're the perfect duo for business. And we have successfully worked well together in lots of different things. And she's the best business person I've ever known. She is so good. I tease her that she can squeeze 2 nickels so hard a quarter will pop out.
I love it.
And she's a UH graduate in chemical engineering, and I'm a UH graduate with a degree called FLIT, Foreign Language International Trade.
Oh, that's what my granddaughter's going for.
It's a business degree.
Foreign Language International Trade.
I used to live in France. I was fluent French. My first job out of school was working for UH, teaching conversational French. And so I said, I'm going to get a degree in this. It's a business degree with a minor in language, and I loved it, it. And
I'm glad to hear you say that, because that's what she's going for.
I think I was either the first or second
She's going
graduate in
Spanish.
1983. Spanish would be good.
Yeah.
I think I was one of the first graduates for that degree.
Is that right?
Yeah. The Foreign Language International Trade. They called me a FLIT.
FLIT. I like that. Well, you are continuing with, will you be able to continue with Class 20 to the Rescue and some of these other things?
Yes. Yes.
Will you stay living here, or will you move to Montgomery?
No, this is home. I don't think I could blast my family out of this area. We live just behind Providence, and I think I could say, hey, we're going to buy a house on the beach in Hawaii, and I'd be the only one going because they love it.
Tyler
plays baseball
where does he
in
play
Monrovia.
Does he?
We live at Phillips Park.
Yes.
If he doesn't make it to the Hall of Fame, I'll be surprised. He's such a good athlete,
and
and
you
he's
can
a
borrow
straight
money
A student.
from him.
There you go. Maybe I can be his manager.
There you go.
So he's a great kid, and we love it here. So the state legislature meets 3 months out of the year. So I will be in Montgomery Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 3 months out of the year, from generally February, April, May time period. So that's going to be a sacrifice that I don't look forward to.
Oh, but maybe it can be a time when Lisa and Tyler can go with you occasionally.
Sometimes. This has been such an educational process. Tyler is 8. He now knows what a primary is. He knows what a palm card is. He knows how to knock on someone's door. he knows the difference between
Wait a minute,
conservative
what's a palm card?
The little card I gave you when I met you that says, I'm Phil, and this is why I want you to vote for me.
There you go.
Palm, because I guess you hand it off your palm. So he's learned a lot. I didn't know what a runoff was when I was 8 years old, unless it was water running off the house. And so he has been around this. Some of the people working the campaign are the best with us.
Well, you know, we need to remind everyone that it is a special election.
Right.
And it is Tuesday.
A week from today.
Yep. And this will be on Saturday night. So
Correct.
It will be
Correct.
Tuesday will be
May the 26th.
May 26th.
Yeah, 1 week from today. A special election means this. In November, we go vote for the president, and you hear about it for months, and we all know we're going to vote, and you show up, and you get your ballot, and there are like 10 things to vote for. This is a special election, meaning the incumbent was no longer in office, and the governor called a special election to replace her. So when you go to the poll next Tuesday on May the 26th, you're going to walk in and they're going to give you a ballot, and it's going to be for this one event. So the voter turnout most likely will be low. So if you live in House District 6, and if you don't know where that is, go to my website at www.votephilwilliams.com. I've got the map up. It basically begins at Bridge Street and Research Park, Sherwood Park, back toward Jordan Lane, over to Slaughter Road, up through Providence, the Target Shopping Center, Providence, a big piece of Monrovia, more to the Indian Creek side of Monrovia.
There's a lot of businesses there, and
a lot of businesses
instead of residences.
That's right.
But there's a lot of residents.
This used to be the cotton world, but now our number one crop is new houses and subdivisions. So a lot of us live here, even if we work in town. So once you get out of Monrovia, there's Harvest. It goes over to County Line Road to Tennessee, and then it goes over to Bob Wade Lane and up through Meridianville to Hazel Green. It's a huge district of about 45,000 people.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And I've met so many nice folks. That has been something that has made this fun
I'd like
to
that
meet people.
sign in Texas that says, "We have so many thousand wonderful people and 3 old codgers." So you haven't even met those 3.
There's a sign in Montana that says, something